In 1944, the Gestapo sent a message to all German units in France. The message was short: find her and kill her. They were not talking about a general, not a resistance leader, not a man. They were hunting a woman. She walked with a limp. She had one artificial leg, and she moved quickly through Nazi-occupied France. Her name was Virginia Hall. The Germans did not know her face. They did not know her real name, but they knew one thing: she was destroying their operations from the inside. This is not a legend. This is not exaggeration. This is the true story of the most effective female spy of World War II. So here's the question: how did a woman with one artificial leg build one of the most effective resistance networks in Nazi-occupied Europe? And more importantly, what did Virginia Hall do that made the Nazis fear her more than entire armies? This is Denzel speaking, and welcome to the World of Intrigue. Do not forget to subscribe in the channel and hit the like button if you're looking for the truth. Night had already fallen over southern France. The mountains were quiet and too quiet. Snow covered the narrow path ahead, hiding rocks, holes, and danger. The wind cut through clothes and skin like a knife, and moving slowly step by step was Virginia Hall. She was not a soldier, she carried no weapon, and she walked with one artificial leg. Behind her, German patrols were searching in the villages, red blocks were closing in, and the Gestapo was asking questions. They were hunting a woman they called the limping lady, and if they found her, she would not survive. Every step was pain. The wooden leg froze in the cold. Her real leg bled inside her boot. At one point, she stopped and whispered into her radio, "Cuthbert is giving me trouble." British intelligence heard the message and replied, "If Cuthbert bothers you, get rid of him." They did not understand. Cuthbert wasn't equipment. Cuthbert with her leg. Virginia Hall was crossing the Pyrenees Mountains on foot in winter, escaping Nazi France. Many men had tried this route. Many had died, but she kept going. But how did a woman like this end up here? How did an American woman, rejected by her own government, become the most hunted spy in Europe? To answer that, we have to go back before the war, before the Nazis, before the limp. Virginia Hall was born in Baltimore, Maryland in 1906. She came from a comfortable family. She was educated, intelligent, and ambitious. Virginia wanted one thing more than anything else: to work in the diplomacy. She studied languages. She traveled Europe. She imagined a life of embassies, negotiations, and international power. Then, in her 20s, everything changed. While hunting birds in Turkey, a gun accident shattered her leg. Doctors had no choice. They removed her leg completely. Virginia woke up missing part of her body, and she knows that her future was in danger. When she applied to the US State Department, they rejected her, not because she wasn't smart, not because she lacked talent, but she was a woman with a disability. No appeal, no second chance. Most people would have accepted defeat, but Virginia did not. When World War II began, Europe collapsed into darkness. France fell, Paris was occupied, and fear ruled the streets. And Virginia saw opportunity where others saw terror. If she couldn't serve officially, she would serve secretly. She volunteered for British Special Operation Executive, the SOE. This was not a normal organization. SOE trained people to lie, to sabotage, and to disappear. They needed agents who would survive alone. Virginia Hall passed every test, despite her leg, despite her danger. Virginia Hall did not arrive in France with weapons or soldiers. She arrived with nothing. No radio at first, no backup, no safe place. Only fake papers, a calm voice, and a memory full of maps. She traveled by train, bus, and on foot. She stayed in cheap rooms, and she never slept in the same place 2 nights in a row. Virginia understood something early. Spies do not survive by being brave. They survive by being trusted. She listened more than she spoke. She held before she asked. Slowly, resistance fighters started to talk. In a city after city, Virginia did something dangerous. She connected people. Groups that worked alone suddenly shared information. Farmers hid weapons. Shop owners passed messages. Railway workers watched German movements. Virginia became the center of a growing web, and the web spread across France. She organized safe houses. She arranged escape routes for downed Allied pilots. She trained civilians to become fighters, and everything was done quietly. No hero speeches, no flags, just results. Soon, British planes started dropping supplies at night weapons, explosives, radios. Virginia coordinated the drops using coded messages. One mistake meant death. But the sabotage worked. The German trains were delayed, communication lines were cut, ammunition disappeared, and every success brought more attention. The Gestapo began to notice patterns. Someone was planning these attacks. Someone understood the system. They did not know how she was, but they gave her a name, the limping lady. Posters went up, informants were paid, borders tightened, and the hunt began. Virginia changed her routines, changed her appearance, changed her voice, but she did not stop because stopping meant surrender. By late 1942, the danger was too great. British intelligence sent an order get out now. Virginia knew what that meant. If she stayed, she would be captured, tortured, executed. So she disappeared into the mountains. The Pyrenees waited snow, cold, silence, and a long walk that would test every part of her body and her will. But the war was not finished, and Virginia Hall was not finished either. Virginia Hall made it across the mountains alive, barely. When she reached Spain, she was exhausted, injured, and close to collapse. Most people would have gone home. Virginia did not, because while she was recovering, something important happened. America entered the war, and the United States created a new intelligence service, the OSS, the Office of Strategic Services. They needed people who already knew the enemy, people who knew the streets, the habits, the fear. Virginia Hall raised her hand. Some officers hesitated. She was a woman. She had one leg. She was already hunted by the Gestapo. Virginia did not argue. She simply said she was ready. The OSS approved her mission, and in 1944, Virginia Hall returned to occupied France, not as a journalist this time, but as a ghost. She changed everything about herself. She changed the color of her hair. She wore old clothes. She carried a basket and walked slowly, like a poor farmer's wife. The limp became her disguise. No one suspected the invisible. She lived in small villages. She avoided cities. She slept in barns and cellars. Virginia rebuilt her network from nothing. This time, her mission was bigger. The Allies were preparing for the D-Day. The resistance fighters inside France had one job: delay the Germans. Virginia trained sabotage teams. She taught them how to destroy railways, cut phone lines, block roads, and disappear. She coordinated attacks without being seen. Every bridge destroyed meant German troops arriving late. Every train delayed saved Allied lives. The Gestapo was still searching. They knew she was back, but they couldn't find her. She was hiding in plain sight, a woman walking slowly throughout the countryside, a woman they had already missed once. By the time Allied forces landed in Normandy, German reinforcements were trapped, confused, and delayed. Virginia Hall had done her job again, and still her story was far from over. When the war ended, Europe celebrated. Cities were free, flags were raised, heroes were honored. Virginia Hall did none of that. She did not give interviews, she did not write a book, she did not stand on a stage. She disappeared. In 1945, the United States awarded Virginia Hall the Distinguished Service Cross, one of the highest military honors. It was presented in private, no cameras, no audience. Virginia asked for it that way. Spies do not live in the spotlight. Soon after, she joined a new organization, the CIA. This should have been her moment, but she had proven herself. She had done what few agents ever did. But inside the CIA, old problems returned. She was a woman. She did not fit the image. She did not belong to the inner circle. Younger men with less experience were promoted ahead of her. Virginia did not complain, but she worked. She served quietly in offices and field rules. She trained agents. She analyzed intelligence. She knew how wars were really fought, not with speeches, but with patience. Still, her career never matched her achievements. The CIA moved on. Virginia stayed invisible. When she retired, there were no ceremonies. She lived a quiet life on a farm in Maryland. She gardened, she walked her dogs. Neighbors had no idea who she was. The woman who once terrified the Gestapo now fed chickens and trimmed trees. Virginia Hall died in 1982. For years, her story stayed buried in classified files. No movies, no status, no fame, just silence. The Gestapo did not fear Virginia Hall because she carried a gun. They feared her because she changed outcomes. She did not lead armies. She did not command divisions. She disrupted systems. Her networks helped sabotage German supply lines. Her intelligence delayed reinforcement during D Day. Her resistance groups weakened Nazi control from the inside. Klaus Barbie, the Gestapo officer who hunted her, later admitted she was the most dangerous light spy, not because of strength, but because she understood people. Virginia Hall proved something powerful. Espionage is not about power, it's about precision. Virginia Hall never asked to be remembered, she asked to be useful. Rejected by her own government, ignored by her own agency, hunted by the enemy, and yet she changed the war. So here's the real question: how many wars were won by people history choose to forget? And how many heroes are still invisible because they don't look like heroes? If Virginia's whole story surprised you, leave a comment. And if you want more true spy stories, real people, real risk, real impact, subscribe in the channel because some legends do not end with applause, they end in silence.